crypto pirates. Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate. The Captain RG3 here to steer the ship for you guys so that you can get your Hex FOMO, Pulse FOMO, whatever it is you are into. We're going to bring it to you here. Got some cutthroats coming into the room tonight. No super guests. I don't mean by that anything by that, but we've got our crew, the Cutthroats, coming in to hang out with us tonight. Talk about Pulse, talk about Hex, talk about V3, talk about all kinds of good shit. Let me say hello to the chat room. I don't know if it sounds like the old romper room saying hello to everybody, but just hello to all you guys. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hanging out in the chat room. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate all your super chats and smashing of the likes and all that crap and supporting us. We appreciate it. More is coming. I know we've been saying we're going to bring you guys t-shirts and stuff, but those are actually done. The Vegas stuff is happening now. The t-shirts are in. I think you guys saw some of the logos. The new logo I posted up tonight. That's our DS logo. A lot of thought went into that. A lot of thought went into that logo. There's a lot of subliminal shit in there. And then we've got t-shirts coming. We've got a pirate shirt coming. We've got some really exciting, cool stuff also coming from DS. On top of all of our other streams with Nerd Girl and KNTX doing his stream in the morning. We're bringing it, guys. We're bringing it, and we're going to keep bringing it. So thanks for all the support. We really do appreciate you guys, and Hex does too, because, you know, let's face it, Discourse Syndicate was the first community stream, and we brought all you guys online. It's turned into something very, very special. And all of you guys out there streaming, doing your community streams like Cabana and Wales and Maddie and Joe Exotic, all you guys with your streams are, man, it's part of the community. We're a known quantity out there in crypto land because nobody does it like Hexicans do. Nobody does it like we do. They just don't bring it like we do. We bring it hard. We bring it strong. And no BS, no bullshit, no hype, no crap, man. We Hexicans bring it and bring it good. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming in the chat room and hanging out with us. We're going to bring up our guest, who is a cutthroat, and one of the guys that I actually got to spend some time with live, you know, in real life. My boy, Yashdeep. What's up, dude?
What's up, Cap? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Oh man, this is cool. He just if you guys don't know, and I was going to talk about this tonight, Richard just posted how to place a limit order on Uniswap V3, and I wanted to check that out, so I actually went in there. I saw that you saw that big dip today, obviously.
Yeah, right? Hard to miss.
Well,
actually, very easy to miss because it got bought up real quick. So
if you blinked, you missed it. If you didn't have your liquid ready to go and your finger on the button, you missed it. If you didn't have dry powder ready, you missed that one. The cannons were fired and it was all over with.
It's crazy though. Like, I don't know who did it, but like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you do one order? Like, what are you doing?
That's just the dumbest thing. I mean, so if you are new to crypto, new to trading, there's certain things that you need to learn about. If you've got a lot of money like that, I mean, I think it was like what, $580,000 or something like that.
Something like that, close to 600, yeah.
So we're talking about $500,000 plus, and this guy probably lost a pretty significant percentage of it because of slippage, and he could have got more by setting a limit order and letting it get bought up, and he didn't do so. So very important. Richard literally just now tweeted instructions on how to set a limit order. He lost 30%. Trustless said, "Holy fucking balls!" And we complain about taxes, but we're going to go and pay that tax to Uniswap first and then go pay taxes. That's if you live in California, that's 70% of your bag. You still have 70% of your bag.
Dude, and not just that, like he's probably going to get left behind now. So.
And he already is. He already is left behind.
Yeah. So factor that in somehow.
You've got to learn, people. You've got to learn, and you've got to be responsible, and you've got to be diligent, or you're going to wreck yourself. 30% loss on that. I don't know if that's real, but I mean that's just insane. 30%. Wow. You guys are not measuring his slippage right at all. Well, PulseChain, let's hear it. Bring it to us and let us know. Maybe that wasn't it. And that's what I said. It might not be. I'm not doing the maths and I don't know. But I know that it was dumb and I know that it wasn't a good way to go. So learn how to make limit orders. Learn what they can do for you when you're exiting. So you have some type of an exit strategy. Again, Richard just posted in Twitter, so he's kind of showing you. Oh, it's Richard on my alt account. So that's Richard, and he's saying that we're not doing it right. So what is right, Richard? Lay it on us. Maybe it's in his tweet. So if you go look at his tweet, he's going to
send him a link. Have him hop on.
Yeah, I'll send him a link. Let's see what he does. See if he'd like to come on and let's see. Where's Richard at? There, I sent you the link, Richard, if you'd like to jump on real quick and school some people. It would be nice because, okay, so he said, just imagine that when you buy a price up, you first bit off. Your first bit of order feels cheap. Then your last bit of order feels expenses. It averages in the middle. Gotcha. Of course. I mean, that's how orders are filled. So, I mean, but yes, Richard Hart on the account of my sister's friend. Now everybody's saying they're Richard Hart. Okay. All right.
What's up, Toby? I met with Toby and Nardo this weekend. So shout out to them too. Cool dudes.
Yeah. Where were you guys at?
We went to Twin Peaks and we had some food, some drinks, and
Twin Peaks. Where's Twin Peaks? What state?
It's no, that's a restaurant. It's like a nicer Hooters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They call it Twin Peaks. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was cool. We hung out for a while and good dudes, real good dudes.
Yeah, every Hexkin that I've met so far has been cool. It's gonna be something to see in Vegas because the worst of everybody comes out in Vegas, that's for sure.
Yeah, heads up to everybody going to Vegas. Maybe take your app off on your phone and take your MetaMask off your phone, or just leave your phone behind.
Yeah, don't take that shit. If you've got it on there, don't take that shit.
Don't take your laptop, unless you're like, because it's not just even like Hexicans or some other people like stalking us. It's like, you never know who's in the hotel working. You just don't risk it.
And you know what I've found is that when shit goes wrong, like terribly wrong in people's lives, a lot of times it has to do with alcohol. I don't know why, but that's what it usually is when shit goes wrong. Like if somebody gets stoned, they don't like, hey, give me my keys, I'm leaving. It's like, no, I'm gonna stay here on the couch and eat this pizza. It's like, where's my keys? I forgot. No, we're arguing about it. When you're drunk, though, you argue, you get your keys, you go run off, you get a DUI, or you crash a car, or you smack somebody around, or before you know it, it's always trouble with alcohol. I don't know what it is, but anything else, well, maybe some other illicit drugs, you can get in some bad trouble. But for some reason, man, that alcohol is always trouble. That's when shit goes wrong in your life.
If you live in a state where it's legal, it's probably a better way to go.
Oh yeah, the weed, you mean? Yeah. I suggest that to any of you folks out there who partake. Stick with the weed, man. Stick with the weed. I can't stand that stuff, but or else maybe I would have used it to self-medicate a long time ago.
Richard's got another example.
Heading off to work. Good luck. Yeah. Oh, wait, let's see what he says.
Scroll up.
There we go. Up, where'd it go? Daggone it. I missed it. There it is. So here's another example. If you doubled the USD and Hex USD, you Forex the price, but you didn't pay Forex the price. You paid far less because you got all the cheap coins along the way. Yep. It moved up on you. You were buying cheap ones along the way in that order. Gotcha. That's slippage. So, but I guess the 30% is wrong. I don't know what he was referring to. Something was they were doing the math wrong.
No, I might have just put it in like Uniswap. It kind of tells you what the slippage might be. I think it comes up with an estimation. Maybe like if you're doing ethex.com, right at the bottom, it says slippage and gives you a little percentage. And you can just test that out. So maybe that's what they did.
Yeah, maybe move your liquidity over to Uni V3 and do buy side only. That's another one from Richard.
Yeah, I gotta dig into Uni. Have you?
I opened it up and I started looking and I couldn't figure out how to set a limit order yet. So I was going to kind of dig into that and maybe talk about it today.
Yeah,
a little bit, but I didn't see. Now I know how to do it over on 1 inch, but not on Uniswap. I haven't used Uniswap that way yet. And on this computer here that I have, I don't have any wallets hooked up to it. So I opened up Uniswap, and I don't know if you have to have a wallet hooked up for all of that interface to show, because it's not showing me any unit. I think maybe it's just in the settings there. There's a setting, and then slippage tolerance, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not sure how to set a limit order in there, but it would be nice for us. I'll bet you Coffee does one and shows everybody how to do it.
I was just going to say, like, he's probably already on it. Doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to probably be out soon is Coffee. So anyway, so how's it going out there, bro? I know you moved out from beautiful Southern California, and now you're in what state now? You're in Ohio. Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some things about Ohio I really like graders. Graders, I really like graders.
Yeah, no,
it's like every time I went to Ohio, bro. When I go, every hotel that I've ever stayed in Ohio, there's a fucking graders right next to it. I'm like, God damn it, And every night I had to stop in and get some of that shit, man.
There's two of them in a maybe 5 mile radius right here, so it's like there's one like right outside my apartment, basically. So it's kind of like that, and then yeah, there's one like right next to like the hotels, or not the hotels, grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah. Now they got their specialty is that black cherry, their brand of black cherry ice cream or whatever it is. Oh man, that stuff is so freaking good.
I haven't tried that yet.
That's like their famous, like Grader's famous flavor is that black cherry.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Oh dude, it's so somebody from Ohio was like, hey, if you're going to go to Grader's, you got to try their black cherry. That's their, that's their brand. That's what they started with. And then they got all the other flavors, but the black cherry is freaking the bomb. Now, what I didn't like was Skyline. Everyone was telling me about these Skyline Coney dogs and shit. And I was like, it's like, they have like a mountain of cheese on top of them. And then the chili tastes like it's got cinnamon or some weird shit in it. It's weird.
It's fast food hot dogs, so
yeah,
you get what you should expect, right?
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I like Ohio. I do. I have some good friends out there.
That's nice. I mean, there's like I've lived in Indiana before, and that's totally flat. Lived in Connecticut, and there's nice hills and stuff. I love the scenery there. This kind of is it's kind of in the middle. Like there's some flat areas, but then there's also some hills. Lots of greenery, something you don't really get in SoCal. But I think about SoCal all the time. Like the weather there is perfect.
Yeah.
Every day. It's always
boring. It's just boring weather. Just 75-degree weather. Just boring.
The weather here is so moody. It's like yesterday was like hot and sticky and humid, and it was raining. And then today, like the sun was out. So I thought, hey, it's going to be a beautiful day. I'll wear shorts and t-shirt. I go outside and the wind's blowing and it's super cold. It's can't make up its mind. But
Yeah.
it's nice. I mean, I like being close to family again, and so I'm having a great time out here.
That's good, man. That's good. Good for the soul to be back around family, man. Good for the soul.
Great.
Especially when you've been out here in SoCal, man. I know it. Were you out here on your own?
Yeah, I was out here. I was out there on my own for about almost 3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know it can be a lonely, cold place when you're from somewhere else, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And it was just, I think it was also just the pocket where I was at. I was working on a small company, a lot of the guys there and girls, mostly older crowd. I had some few friends, but they all kind of moved away and went on to different companies and stuff. So it was just like, just the way it kind of worked out was.
And the crypto community was really small over there, huh?
Yeah, I tried going to like the tech startup meetups that they had, from meetup.com, and just, it wasn't our Hexicans, and and it was kind of crazy. I had surgery on my feet. I basically had like a bone spur, and I had surgery right when Hex launched, and so I was just sitting on my butt the whole time, consuming all the content, and and at the time I was just kind of fly on the wall. I was like active in the chats, but I wasn't like public or anything. So I was just I was hyped about the community. It was a great time.
It was kind of a perfect storm where we had the COVID-19 thing going on, and so everybody was at home, and Hex was launching. So there was you had a lot of time on your hands, like a lot of weird time, like the days for me at that time, there was no work, there was nothing. It was like you can't go anywhere, everything was shut down, and you didn't know what time of the day it was. It was just like you were up all night, up all day, and it was just, the chat room was going off all the time because there was somebody from some other country in there keeping it alive, and everybody else was awake too. And it was kind of a surreal time, but a great way to soak up content, man. We were just soaking up content like crazy.
Russell, no. Sorry.
And I think that's why, Hexicans became so educated and so interested in Hex, because it was a difficult, crypto to understand at first, for all of us, because, you have to switch your mindset, first of all, to even understand what Hex is. So it's like, we all came in with crypto mindset. So, we thought trading, we thought, short term, how do we get the pump? How do we catch the pump? How am I going to X my bag real quick? And then, and then we had to learn about staking and long and all these other things. And
I didn't really understand staking until maybe like I knew what it was, but I didn't really understand like T-shares. I remember the whole like learning experience that we all kind of went through together.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, the shares are the most important thing. And so, and I agree. Like, so I went through my surgeries, and I basically was just working from home already. And that was back in like November, December. And then that just led into COVID. So I was already like at home all the time. Didn't know what time it was. Didn't really go outside because I was at that kind of cast in the walking boot. And there's nothing to really do when, you're a gimp. When are you going to gimp yourself to a bar? And, it's, so like I was already in that mood, but I was just like constantly consuming content, watching everybody stream, watching Hexo, and then slowly seeing people come out, you and DC, and then Coffee was already a streamer back then. So it was pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was a surreal time, and I'm glad it happened the way it did, I mean, for myself personally, or else
perfect storm. Like
it was perfect storm. And but what I've really enjoyed is being part of a community that is going to shape what crypto's future is going to look like, because it's starting to fracture. I think crypto is starting to fracture. It was really, Hex is the true DeFi product. It is the true DeFi. And I think Pulse is going to be the true DeFi chain. And anything that sits on it is going to be true DeFi. And that's what's coming to crypto, and that's what it's been waiting for. And all of this other stuff is just, I think it's in its last big pump, death throes kind of, let's see if we can squeeze some more out of this, because even though, I mean, I'm seeing some of them make announcements and promises, and they announced these promises weeks ago and said, oh, in a couple of weeks, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And they haven't. They're already reneging on their promises in the middle of a bull run. So it just tells me that they're trying to get their last pumps out of this thing by hyping their own shit. Once again.
It's not surprising. And I agree with you on the, Pulse is going to change it up, because it's the thing that we forget, like, we're hexagons, and this is going to be great for Hex because the fees are going down. Richard's addressing the S load, but this is the biggest airdrop to all of crypto ever so far, and maybe ever happen again, right? And so with that in mind, we're trying to bring in all the other, we're trying to incentivize all the other communities to come over here and play. And I think that's kind of what the intent is of having the 1-to-1 ETH, if that's how it plays out. Like you get 1-to-1 ETH, you get the same amount in Pulse. And if you don't move it, then you lose it. And that's a great way to test the network, to see how, quickly things move, how, what the throughput is, and, see how low the fees are. Maybe that's going to help people be like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't so bad after all. And that's what I'm hyped about, is, bringing other people on. I think the community, we've had to kind of be defensive for a long time because there was a lot of like bad narratives out there in the beginning. And I think some people internalized that and they kind of maybe lashed out to other communities, but it really wasn't hate towards other communities. And I think, we need to address that and be like, hey, we're not against other people. Like there was, I forgot the guy's name, but the Dash community, they reached out. I think we did some streams together, and, we're all about building those bridges. We got Nerd Girl doing, building the bridges show. And so,
let's be honest though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was more fun to go after the FUDers and the people that were, fighting us. I mean, that's what it was. We liked the fight. It was like, go ahead, bring it on. And we went after those folks versus, trying to warm up to the people that were warm to us. Cause there was a lot of streamers that actually spoke well of Hex. There were a lot of other communities that spoke well of Hex that, there were a lot of neutral people that we could have, warmed up to. But we loved the fight, man. It was like, bring the scrap on, bring it on.
We got our team, you got your team. You want to beef it out? Let's go.
It was like, come on, bitches, and it was fun. It was fun because we knew we were winning. We knew we were winning, and we had Richard and his infinite knowledge on our side. It was like you couldn't argue with any of that. Like, I don't know if you heard today on Twitter, but Richard posted that old whale pool video that he did with them, like way back, way back. Oh, it's in his tweet today, but he posted a section of him talking to whale pool, and it's so laughable now when you hear them speak about Hex and what they were saying about Hex. And, they came on scam. You're just a scammer, Richard. Oh, I love the way you keep a straight face while you're scamming everybody. And it's just so good. You're such a great actor, Richard. You're such a great actor when you're going to run off with everybody's money and blah, 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 and over and over and over again. And they just had this really just weak ass narrative. And I mean, and those guys are wrecked now. And Richard was calm and collect and said, look, guys, I'm trying to explain to you what this is about. You're missing it. You're missing the forest through the trees kind of thing or whatever. They were just on their narrative. One of the guys, I forget whatever his name was, he was trying to actually like, guys, let's listen to what Richard has to say. You're just, popping off at the mouth for no reason. You're not even listening. And they were like, no, we're not going to, because this is all just a bunch of bullshit and blah, blah, blah. So it was, it's really cool to see that those guys have egg on their face now for acting ridiculous and not being, just a little open to actually listening to what somebody else might have to say. you know, and they were maxis. You can tell by their language that they were maxis, and they were talking about shit coins and how, you know, Ethereum. You can just tell that they were anti-Ethereum, anti-ERC20. Oh, it's just another ERC20 piece of shit token and blah blah blah. You know, but it's nice to go back in a time, and I think. I know we've got somebody who's marking time on Twitter, things that will not age well or whatever on Twitter. So he's keeping track of all that. So one day we're going to have some really nice stuff to post for those people that got wrecked during this whole thing. Let me throw this up real quick. MT Coiner, thanks for the $20, dude. Appreciate you helping out. Massive respect to all the hardcore hexagons. I love this community so much. Wouldn't trade the last year and a half for anything. Me neither, bro. Me neither. I wouldn't trade any one of you, all of you trolls, all of you fucking haters that give me shit. I wouldn't trade any of you. I freaking love my pirates, man. You guys are, in fact, I give banhammers to those of you who troll me the hardest. But anyway, Hex has changed my life. I'm not the only one. Wish I could chat more. Rock on, Hexkins. Thanks, MT Corner. We agree with you. It's an awesome community. It's funny, you know, how an investment asset is bringing all of these people together. I've made some really good friends, you know, in this, you know, you included Yashdeep and Johnny, who's going to come up here in a second. And, you know, and me and Hexo are, I mean, we're tight, we're good friends. And, I mean, I've made some really good friends in Hex. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. We love you too, RG3. David Feeder says, love you too, David Feeder.
What's up, David? Haven't seen you do a stream in a long time. Glad to see you here.
He was actually on with Wales the other day.
Okay. I missed that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you got to go back and watch that one, dude. That was a good one. That was a good one. Cool. Don't miss that one. Go back. Anything that fucking Wales puts out, dude, you got to. If you're not watching Wales, you're not a Hexican. You guys got to get out there and watch Wales. He may tell you don't know what the fuck you're. I mean, he's preaching to the choir a lot with a lot of us because we do know what he's saying. He says, "You guys don't understand what I'm saying." No, we understand what he's saying, but we fucking love what you're saying, bro. Keep saying it. So anyway, that's Wales, guys. If you ain't watching Wales only, go over there and check him out on Maddie's channel. They got the Quant Gang, and he does his own stream now. And charting motherfucker, man, what a brilliant charting guy. And I'm not a charter, but even his charts make me hard. So go watch freaking Whale shit, man. He's got some good stuff.
What do you mean you're not a charter? We've seen your charts on Twitter.
Well, I mean, I have a special brand of charting that the captain does, but very rare do you get to see it. And I'm actually working on one right now. I'm working on something. Okay, nice. Yeah, because of this big pump that's coming, we gotta have a chart. So it's coming out so that people can understand what to do while this Pulse thing launches. I'm still in the dark, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know that Hex is gonna pump the fuck out of itself right now. Yeah. You know, we're gonna have some dips like we did today. People are gonna sell, but it's gonna get sucked right back up. I know a lot of people that I've talked to that have got a lot of dry powder on the sidelines that are coming in. Myself too. I mean, I know a lot of people that are there's people selling fucking houses right now to get into this, but I just don't know what the play is, to be honest. Myself, I haven't said either way. I mean, I think the best thing to do right now is buy Hex because it's cheap. And I think that Hex is going to pump like crazy because people are going to want to sacrifice it to get Pulse and all that kind of stuff. So I'm almost
priced in USD. So yeah, that so far, like, we don't have enough information, but as much as we know, like, you're spot on. Like, it's the USD value for whatever coin you're going to sacrifice. Yep. And so you would want to probably pick something that has, you know, that's going to pump the most, right? Like, if you pick Ethereum, you're not moving the market, but if you pick Hex, like, you're making a difference. And you're making a difference to yourself, right? And not just other people. So, you know, if you're going to do it, that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah. And then when it does come time for, like, Richard to say, okay, here's what it's going to look like, A, B, C. I think as soon as that happens, there's some big money on the side that's like, okay, now we're in. And then that's going to, you know, bang it even more. If that's what they get into is Hex, which is, like you said, it's like almost a no-brainer, is that's going to be the coin that's going to see the biggest pump during all of this. And And yeah, I mean, it's going to be amazing to see what happens. I'm stoked. I mean, we're already pumping. We're already hitting 3 cents now. I mean, gosh, dude, we're hitting 3 cents. Freaking 3 cents, man.
Long overdue, but I'm excited. So like I had tweeted out the last time we had this like run up to 2.5 cents. I was like, this was nice, but it wasn't like, it didn't have the feeling that I'm having now. And it just is different. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going to happen. We saw today that there was a huge dump, but it got ate up. Like that's
like instantly,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, within like
That's
5
cool.
minutes, it was already 3/4 ate back up.
Yeah.
Boom, the next shot.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And then the other thing that's got me really excited, what I'm really, really excited about is the low amount of circulating hex that is existing out there. So there is it's going to start dwindling even more and more as time goes on here. And then on top, so as the circulating supply starts to get less and less, and then we see a big sacrifice. All of that sacrifice hex then comes off the market once again, and then it's going to be so lean and so dry that almost all of the circulating supply is going to be coming from staker class. So the staker class is going to be supplying the hex, and the staker class, who's remember, it's only 9% of us, and those are freaking diamond-handed hexicans that are in there, and they know the value of their T-shares. Now, yeah, I know they're going to sell some, and they're probably going to skim some profits, but they're not going to want to give up their T-shares. So those hexicans are going to be very, very skimpy with the hex getting out there, and I mean, I can only imagine one outcome that can come of that: low circulating supply, high demand. What is it? Supply and demand pumps a price of something, and that's all I see with hex is just upside. Now, here's what I'm really excited about: is that system state that exists, like I just explained it, in that lean operational model, is getting duplicated on Pulse. So on top of, hex coming over to Pulse, it's going to come over a lean, mean fighting fucking machine. And that is badass for staked hexagons. That is just, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's freaking huge.
Yeah. And, I think the fees and the transaction costs, probably whales don't care about that as much because they're like, yeah, I'm moving millions of dollars. What do I care? But there's a lot of people that I know that, they're trying to put in 500, 1,000, as their money comes in, paycheck comes in, they don't want to spend, hundreds of dollars. I mean, the fees have come down recently, but it's still a lot of money. And, these fees should be just pennies at most, right? Maybe $1 for a large transaction or a long ass stake or something. But people are, they're looking at me, they're like, hey, what do I do? And I'm like,
wait,
before I knew about Pulse, I was like, well, dude, I don't know. I mean, this is just take half your stack or take, 20% and just keep it in ETH because you're going to have to pay these fees. I hated, telling them that. And, now I'm excited. I'm like, hey, we got something coming. It's in the works. Save up what you can, buy in because the price
get as much as you can because it's going to double. I mean, you're gonna split your hex. So get your ass into hex now.
Yeah, get in now, and then you're going to get this. You'll get a split, and then we'll see which chain wins. If maybe both, because if there's like a bridge between the two chains, and it keeps the price where it is. You can kind of play both. I don't know how it's going to happen. But it's really interesting. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of unknowns, and and for as since hex is immutable, we know how hex works, and it's not going to change. So it's really cool that we have the Internet of Money, Ethereum. Now it's going to be Pulse as a playground for us to just go have fun. And,
get your favorite, go play with your favorite cryptos and do whatever you like with them.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to bring Johnny up, man. He's been sitting in the background here waiting for us to get going. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Johnny Chaos. What's up, dude?
What's up, Johnny?
How goes it, guys? I'm just listening to you guys talk, trying to figure out where we're going to pick up which topic.
Well, there's so
a
many
lot going on.
There's a ton going on.
Did you see that there are 600 new wallet addresses?
I think Hexo posted something like that just in the past couple of days. Like a lot of wallets were made. Yeah.
So the wallets are pumping.
Wallets are pumping. Hex seems to have this doubling effect, and that's why it's always, you always see me saying which one's going to 2x first, because Hex has this kind of doubling factor, right? So like when the God Whale bought in, it doubled up and it never went back. Hex has done this like several times on the chart, this whole doubling factor. So it's really kind of interesting to see that. And, so I made a statement. I said, look, guys, since 3 cents isn't double, 2 cents, I said it's going to move a lot quicker between 2 and 3 cents. Why? Because it has that doubling factor, right? So I knew it was going to go quick. I just didn't know what day. And it's like, damn, there it is. This is the day.
It happened fast. It went to 3 cents fast.
And Captain, you were talking about like the amount of Hex available is drying up every day. Mm-hmm. And just to explain on that a little bit, like obviously people have liquid Hex, but if you're not on an exchange or you're not a liquidity provider, that Hex is not available for sale.
No, it's sitting in a wallet.
It's sitting in a wallet.
Somebody's savings account making no interest.
Right. And
it's like cash in the bank.
The only Hex that's available is what is being provided on liquidity, or if, we're on like 30 exchanges. So like whatever is on there. But you can look at that. You can go to Uniswap. You can see what the liquidity pools are. And if you buy a bunch of Hex, like that's no longer there. Yeah, it's an automated market maker, so the pairs are always equal, but you still have less and less Hex. And so that's what we're talking about, that the Hex is starting to dry up. So while you'll still be able to trade, you'll still be able to buy, you'll just be able to buy less and less. And that kind of speaks to what Johnny was saying, that the multiples that it moves is going to move faster and faster.
And the real kicker. Now just went right by me. Go. You guys talk.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, I mean, Johnny, you mentioned like there's a lot of things that we can talk about because one, there's a lot of unknowns. And I think the community's trying to figure it out. And I think, Richard was on stream last week, and he was trying to figure it out because there's still, he said 2 weeks away, and hopefully it's not like the 4 weeks away kind of thing that we had to deal with. If for the people that aren't familiar, before Hex launched, I think Richard went through like 2 months, 3 months of saying like it's 4 weeks out, and every 2 weeks he would update it. So while I think some people need some time to kind of get some funds together, get some get their paychecks in. So I don't want it to be exactly a week from now or whatever, but yeah, I think, we're still like figuring out what it is, how it's going to work. He was talking about bonding curves, and do you incentivize somebody getting in early, or do you incentivize somebody that has a larger amount? Because generally when you buy wholesale, you get a discount, right? And so, he's thinking through all these things, and I think it's really important, and everyone's invited to PulseChain com on Twitter. On Telegram.
Telegram.
Yeah, to provide input and all that kind of stuff. So it's really exciting, but I'm really waiting on more information, and I don't know how I'm going to play it. I definitely want to get in, but I also value my Hex, and so I'm not here selling anyway. So where's the balance? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. How do I maintain what I have, but also invest in something that I think is going to be major? There's a brand new playing field, and I think there's tokens that haven't been even thought of yet that are going to look at Pulse and be like, hey, I can build this now because the framework is there. It's worth my time. And so how much do I want to invest in Pulse for that? Because, the possibilities are endless right now.
So I remembered what the kicker was. The kicker is that the sacrifice phase happens before the snapshot.
Right.
That's the kicker. So you have a choice. You're not going to get
You
both.
have to make a choice. You do. You have to make a choice.
So you either A, set aside coins to sacrifice for Pulse, or B, just hold your hex so that it duplicates onto the Pulse chain.
Or C, do a little bit of both.
Yeah, or you do a little bit of both. But the other thing is that concerns me is a lot of people are like, I'm going to emergency unstake and sacrifice my hex. No. That's not it. That's not how you do this. This is going to be a new mechanism that we're going to use. Hex works as Hex has worked. It's not going to change. If you emergency unstake, you're going to nuke yourself. Okay, that is not sacrificing. This is not what anybody's talking about. But I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people talking about that. It's like, no.
Yeah, this is not the. I was the first person to tell everybody to emergency end stake before big payday. But there was a reason for that. This is not the same situation.
Big payday.
This is a big different situation. It's completely different situation. And unless, I wouldn't be giving up, any, even if you're halfway through a stake right now, I wouldn't be giving up any stakes, because you're going to duplicate those stakes on PulseChain. So why would you, cut that in half and then cut it in half again to try and get gains on something that you don't know what it's. I mean, something that starts at zero is obviously going to go up, especially with all of the excitement behind it and the energy that is coming in behind Pulse from just hexagons alone. So that's kind of a no-brainer to know that, hey, it is going to have some kind of an upside to it. But you never know what could happen with a dip or a dump afterwards or whatever. I'm sure that Richard's thinking about some mechanisms to put in place to keep a lot of that stuff from happening. He's brilliant when it comes to the game theory. He freaking executed big payday like a boss. I mean, that was like
flawless,
perfect. It was perfection, flawless. That was like, I mean, we were all sitting here talking about other things and this and that, and fuck, he threw a curveball, and we were like, oh shit.
Dude, we were excited, and like other communities didn't understand why we were happy. The price jumped. Like we were celebrating. Like, dude, what?
That's just it. They don't understand. They don't understand the game theory like we do. They're still have a crypto mindset. Like I said in the beginning of the stream here, we literally had to rewire our brains in order to understand what Richard was doing here. Because crypto had wired our brains the opposite way of what crypto was supposed to be. I mean, we've been taking snapshots of our butthole and giving it to these guys for years and letting them hold our keys and, getting into promises and all of this shit that we've been doing, and when Richard started talking to us, it was like, okay. And it was hard for all of us to turn around, but we did rewire. We all rewired. And that's what you saw. Just like you said, Yash, you said, hey, when Big Payday came and the hexagons were up and jumping around and everyone's like, what the fuck are you guys happy? You just got shit on. Richard just shit on you guys. You're like, no. You guys don't get it. Richard just fucking saved our asses. And not only did he save our asses, but he pumped us like you don't know. Yeah. But it was a future pump. What he did was he secured the network. What he did was he kept people from dumping on us, and he kept the staker class strong, the people that held, the people with diamond hands, the people that believed in the project, people that believed in Hex. And it was beautiful that big stake was right there, to kind of weed everybody out of after the big payday, keep people from dumping, let those that were going to dump, let the strong hand stay. So like everything after that, it was just perfect, man. It was just flawlessly executed. And I'm sure that Pulse is going to go somewhat the same way. Yeah. And
the kicker is everybody's already starting to drop into old crypto habits of where they think, okay, how do I get a bunch of Pulse to flip it? You start to see some of that mentality, and you may have to very well set on Pulse for a year.
Exactly.
To profit.
That's my thoughts, but
and And that's a real kicker because we've gotten away from this short-term mindset, but we see people like drop back into it again, where it's like, how do I do this quick cash grab? And that's not what anything Richard's designed has been about. And what would make you think that this is going to be designed in that way? So you could expect that there's going to be chaos when it first comes out. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to go crazy. And, you're going to have the feels. You're going to get the emotions. You're going to want to sell. You're going to want to buy. You're going to, and this is just normal, right? You're going to have to wait until the smoke clears to see what happens there. And Pulse, again, people are like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire because of Pulse. Well, Pulse is the network that Hex runs on. Hex is the coin that's programmed to pump. Pulse is the coin that's going to save us from the ETH fees. So you have to understand they're two different coins with two different purposes and two different intentions. Yep. So you can't compare and say, okay, well, this is Richard's new coin. It's not. It's a solution to an existing problem. It's not. It's not the next Hex. It is a solution to the problem that we're currently facing. So try to separate the two.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny, I agree. That's a good point. Because if you think back to how the free claims worked on Hex, all that was locked up for a year, right? You weren't able to touch it, and that prevented people from selling. Like Richard's already done that before. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but just that's where his head's at, right? And he's already done it, and he realizes that.
Here's the thing with Pulse, though. Pulse doesn't have to be expensive.
No.
Okay. Because if it's expensive, then so is gas.
Exactly.
You want to pay $1,000 for gas? No, you want to pay pennies for gas.
Yeah.
So why are we trying to make Pulse into this? Eventually it's going to appreciate. Okay. Mm-hmm. When it comes on the market, people are going to find use case. They're going to use it. It's going to gain value. But initially, no, we don't want this thing to just instantaneously go up in value because that's just more money for gas fees. Its intent is for us to run on that network, to pay cheap gas fees, to be faster, more effective. So when it comes to Pulse, we really shouldn't be talking price. We should be talking efficiency, throughput, and affordable fees. Affordable and high price is not, is contradictory.
And double bags, baby, double bags.
Yeah,
I mean that's really the most exciting thing for Hexkins is you're getting double bags, baby. You're getting double bags.
As long as you don't sacrifice your Hex for Pulse.
yeah.
But if you want to be a Pulse whale, you can do that.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is, take something like Hex that you can easily move the market. And pump the price up, like they don't, that's what Doge did, right? So all these sellers, they don't even know where they put their damn Doge. Okay. There's a guy with $14 billion worth of Doge in his wallet. He probably doesn't even know where the hell he put his ledger, so these people are just going crazy and the whales that hold Doge, they're like, whatever, they've just forgotten where they put this stuff. They're probably tearing their house apart.
Yeah.
But they let the seller or they let the buyers buy and just let them buy, right? They're not trying to sell on their heads. That's why Doge did so well and Hex isn't, because we've got these big bag holders that are giving their stuff away, just giving it away. You're gonna sell Hex for pennies when Doge is freaking 70 cents? Are you out of your freaking mind? Are you out of your freaking mind? You know how easy it's for us to do a 60x. One TikTok video gets it all going for the Doge, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if we didn't have these people with big bags selling on our heads, we would already be there.
So today my wife went and got her hair did, and guys, him and his wife have been cutting my kid's hair and doing my wife's hair for years. And she goes, hey, he's into crypto. Oh, by the way, I just want Crypto King. Awesome idea, man. I've got an extra Wi-Fi router. I don't know if I want to do it because I don't want anybody seeing my net. Hey, I wonder who lives here, Anyway, yeah, it's a good idea, I guess. If you've got an old Wi-Fi router, put hex.com on there and let everybody see that. But yeah, cool. But so wife comes home from the salon. By the way, nice hair, honey, nice hair. And she says, "Oh, he's into crypto too." And I said, "Oh yeah, okay, cool. Let's hear it." He's got some Bitcoin, and he has that other coin that starts with a D. And I was like, "Oh
God." Did you like Dash? Oh,
that's what I said. I said Dash. And he said, "Die? Did you buy? No." Doge.
Well, see, that's the thing that Doge has, is because Doge is old school crypto people. Okay, it's Bitcoin holders. It's old school.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bag of it too.
They know how to set a limit order.
I fucking sold a ton of it for like $10. Fucking rude.
All right, and this is important. Okay, why? Because if you set a limit order, you don't push the price down against yourself, and you could literally set the limit order at just above market, and your bag will fill, and you will get maximum amount of money for your coins at that point in time. Why? Because when people buy, it goes into your sell. Okay, and you do not push the price down. So when a Doge whale wants to take profit, they set a little just above market, they put it in their Bitcoin. They set a little above market, they take it and they put it in their Bitcoin, because they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah. And that big wallet hasn't sold any either.
Just jumped in, bought a bunch of hacks, and are looking for their opportunity to dump it on the market. And what they're actually doing, it shows the lack of maturity. What they're doing is they're pushing the rest of their holdings down in value. Okay, you want to increase the value of your holdings so that you get optimal returns out of your stack. So how would you do that? Well, that's simple. You put a sell order and you push the price up to your sell. Mm-hmm. That's how you do that. That's how whales behave. Okay, that's that. You don't just hit market sell. Any pleb can hit market sell. Mm-hmm. That's not the smart way. You're losing 30%. You're devaluing the rest of your holdings. It's not the way to do it. It's simply not. And the only reason to market sell is if you are setting a buy order at the base of the market, okay, and you panic the market so that they sell and fill your bag. And that does not work in Hex, because there's too many people ready to snatch it up as soon as it breaks that
you never see a red candle sit there for too long. We'll dip, and then bought back.
You'll get priced out. You'll get priced out. And I was playing around on liquidity early when it was the 1 and 2 sats. I was buying at 1 sat and selling at 2. And then guess what? The price moved away. Then I had to be buying at 5 sats because the price moved away. So I've watched it do this.
It was a horrible game to play. I did a little bit of it myself. It was a horrible game to play. It was like, nope, just get in and leave it alone.
I should have just been buying at 1 sat and called it good.
Yep.
Everything that I had, just threw it all in there, just kept throwing. But no, I had to play silly games at the beginning. But that was part of the adjustment period.
Yeah, we were all, like you said, we were rewiring our brains, man. We were rewiring our brains. I just wanted to acknowledge what Toby Wan just said here. If I get Pulse at 0 and it hits 27 cents, I'd be pretty thrilled. I think we all would be pretty thrilled. And I don't want everybody to think that we were just fudding it. What we were saying is that, I think Pulse is a long play, and there's not a, like what Johnny was saying, we don't want Pulse to be expensive. We want it to be cheap fees and low costs and all that good stuff. So anyway.
Well, take something like Matic. Matic did 42x, in a matter of 6 months. Okay. If you look, to be honest with you guys, I'm a little disappointed where we are at with Hex. And that has to do with the fact that we're not getting the visibility that we need to be getting, because everybody should be seeing what the hell is going on here. This other Doge is freaking ranked number 4, for God's sakes. If that does not show you what a joke the rest of the crypto space is, I don't know.
It's because it's another shiny object, and it pumped, and it's in a bull market, and everybody's hair's on fire, and everybody's heads aren't on straight, and they don't have the same mindset as us, first of all. So they're like, wait, buy and hold something. Yeah. Okay. Where's the Doge at? Where's the Doge?
But that's how they're doing it though. They're all screaming diamond hands. They're all buying and they're saying they're never going to sell.
No, they're not. They're screaming diamond hands so everybody else will hold so they can dump on their heads.
They're convinced that it's going to $1. And by God, they might actually get there. They hit 70 cents.
But if it hits $1, what's going to happen? They're going to fucking
find in their ledger.
Diamond hands until I'm ready to sell. Then you guys can do what you want.
But they are taking profit because, like I said, these are old school Doge holders. They're just setting market orders, or market sells, and they're collecting. This whole time Doge is pumping. Yeah, they're making money.
They're stacking sats. They're stacking sats, man. They're stacking Bitcoin, like you said,
and they're not even moving the price because they know how. Not to hurt the rest of their holdings by setting the limit orders.
And some Hexicans need to learn that. Either hold or don't sell until you know how to.
Yeah, and actually, that's one way to reduce the fees for yourself, right? Is when you set limit orders, you can set up a bunch. Right. Yeah. And buys and sells, whatever you want to do. And the person that is doing the market buys, they're paying the fee for the transaction. Yes. So,
and that was something I was trying to get people to do on Matcha, when the fees were really, really high, because people were like, well, crap, I can't buy any Pulse. Well, yeah, you can. But in order to do it, instead of market buying, what you would do is you would set a limit buy just below market. So that when it dips, you catch it. Okay. And then you don't pay the gas fee. The seller is paying the gas fee. So you're literally saving all that money that you would have paid on a market buy, and you're getting the hex for lower than market value. So that's the way to go. But the problem with that is if the price does move away from you because you bid too low, you set too low of a limit order, and the price does move away from you, now you got to pay to cancel that order, okay? Or that order expires, but you can set time limits on it so the order can expire. On 1inch, I think they had some issues with they never expired. Yeah. But
there was a way you can get them off. I think even Richard made a video.
But it could cost you to end them if you're trying to okay, well, I'm going to lowball. I'm going to set my bid at 300 Gwei. Forget it. It's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen. Days and days and days go by.
It's never
I did a couple of those.
We're never going to see 300 Gwei.
I did a couple of those trying to, but they didn't.
But if you, instead of market buy, you can support the price of Hex for these people that are dumping maliciously or uneducatedly, and you can catch that, and they're paying your fees, and that's great. That's Hex for no fees.
So Newbie OG says 1inch expires okay now. No gas fee upon expiration. Good to know. Good to know.
Now I had problems with 1inch not filling, and that's why I was using Matcha, because 1inch was not always filling the orders. I got some to fill, but some it bounced right by, and it bot trading never filled my orders. So
yeah.
I kind of experienced that too, but it was really small percentages of an order, 0.5%, and everything else filled 99.5%. And so I don't know what I chalked it up to. I tried asking around, I didn't get a concrete answer. I probably was asking the wrong questions, but yeah, I haven't tried matcha yet, but I do still like 1inch. I think it's still pretty solid. Yeah.
So I mean, there are different ways of doing it, and this should all be basic crypto knowledge. It really should be, because, most everybody comes from centralized exchanges where you have order books and you set limit orders and such, so that's normal. But a lot of people just started with the DEXs, because we have a lot of new people that their only experience really with crypto is going on Coinbase and then going on the DEXs, right? So, they kind of miss that education in between on knowing how to do that. So, you can have more money than you have sense, and it can cause you problems, because, the other thing is, I don't really understand why anybody wants to sell 2 million Hex on the market. You need to sell 2 million hex. You need $40,000 to pay your bill this month. Do you take all your money out of your bank account and throw it on the floor and roll around in it? I mean, what do you really need $40,000 for?
There's a lot of different options out there for people to start hedging their lifestyles. If you are making money in crypto, there are a lot of different things you can do. You can borrow money to pay things and pay that off, and you end up with if you do it correctly, you could end up with a situation where you're actually putting money in your pocket versus losing money just selling and holding a bunch of. I mean, that turns into a taxable event. It turns into a situation, and you're going to have to pay the price for that. So, like you said, why do you need $500,000 right now? What is it? Well, unless you're looking for, if you want that new vented door and you've got millions in there and you want that new vented door or whatever, then okay, I get it. But yeah,
even if you're trying to buy a house, right? Like, let's say that has some value, and it's you're
better off taking a mortgage.
Yeah, take a mortgage
out a little bit of hex each month to pay.
Yes, because then you're at least earning interest, and you don't have to sell it all at once. And the interest you're going to earn is probably, right now, if you're staked for the average, it's close to 40%. It's like 37, 38%. So like, there's other ways to do it. You just kind of have to think it through. See, like, if I do it this way, what happens? I do it this way, what happens? Do it this way, what happens? Yeah. You got to play all those, avenues out.
Yeah, the richest people I know, they rent stuff. They rent those high dollar things, the yachts and the private jets and all of those things. So, I don't know why people would need such a. I mean, I get it. Yes, okay. Cashing out is important, and taking profits is important. But like you just said, Johnny, how much do you need? Pay the bills, do this, do that, whatever.
If you get through the mentality and go, okay, look, this is a savings account. How often do you check your savings account? Do you click on savings account, look at it every 5 minutes? No, but everybody looks at their hex every 5 minutes. That's Staker app. You got to look at your hex, right? But, especially you got to get out of that mind frame of, okay, all right, I got to get out. Hex is not an exit strategy. It's a saving for your future strategy. And that's why it's not popular in crypto, is because these people are looking for cash out now. And the cash out now is going to suck later.
Yeah, it always does.
If you got $100 million hex and at a penny, you had $1 million. Now every penny it goes up is $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you really think that we're not going up from here?
I know.
I mean, seriously, do you really not think we're going up from here? Why would you dump it now? Anybody that's, the guys that sold it a penny, boo-hoo. They could have 3x their money today.
Yep.
Right? But they didn't. They chose to get out.
Yep.
They chose to
I mean, how many Bitcoin stories do you see where, people were so ecstatic about selling at 11 cents or selling at 30 cents?
30 cents, yeah.
And I just love reading those old tweets. It's like, oh man, dude, I cashed out at 30 cents, baby. Yeah. It's like, oh,
that's exactly what's happening right now in Hex. It's exactly what's happening right now in Hex. It's weird to be on this side of the coin, though, to see it happening, to try to warn people and to try to, let them see that, look, give this thing, we're a year old. Give this thing some time, Oh,
Bitcoin, yeah. I mean, the first year.
Bitcoin did not do jack for the first 500 days.
Yeah. I mean, even Hexo's regretting his pizza that he bought. For real, like regretting it. That was an expensive ass pizza right now.
How much is it worth now?
I don't know. What was it? Was it 100,000 hex or
80,000 hex?
80,000 hex. I think he had a tip and everything. It was close to 100,000.
No, it was total 80,000. It was a total 80,000 hex, and if you multiply that by 3 cents, you have
$2,400.
$2,400 pizza.
$2,400 pizza. Yeah. No, it's eight times 3. Yeah, 2,400. Yep.
Yeah, baby, that thing's gonna get more and more expensive. That's cool, man. Right. Hey, Gary, I want to leave that stuff to you. I didn't want to give people advice on but yes, the people that rent that and get those benefits without me saying, giving tax advice or whatever, they do it through a business and they borrow money against their business and they pay their business and it just works out better. It works out much better. So learn some things, folks, instead of just aping in and out of your positions and wrecking yourself. And it doesn't do the ecosystem any good either. And it doesn't teach good behaviors either. So
it's kind of one of those tough topics because you don't really want to educate the dumpers. You just want them to know.
You're correct.
And it's like it's hard to have these conversations because you want to educate the Hexagon community, but on the same note, you want to go ahead and let the dumpers dump at penny levels so that when we hit dollars, yes, someday, guys, it's gonna happen. We want them to cry about it, so we can have their tears, in a sippy cup.
An F-22 Raptor cost $334 million, and F-A-18 Super Hornet cost $67 million. Selling Hex before $77 is a pleb move. Tiny pieces, the longer you hold, the less you have to sell. Thanks for the $9.99.
It's not like the regular coin. It's more like your mining equipment. It's producing you something for holding it. It's not just you have to get out when the price is high and then buy back at a lower level. You don't have to do all that aping around, jumping around stuff because, the staking option allows us to earn without jumping through all the stupid hoops.
Yeah.
Right.
Looking at the money machine that it is, looking at the Hex printing machine that my stakes are right now, I shudder to think that I would lose a single T-share. I shudder to think that my mind is focused around how do I keep every share or gain more shares as time goes on. I'm worried about stakes coming due. I don't want them to come due. I don't want my shares to go away. I want to make sure that I keep them or gain shares. That's literally how I think these days. And
I'm addicted to my league in the staker app.
And we just got wrecked on our leagues, by the way.
Yeah, I think there was a bug a little while ago, and as soon as I saw it,
I remember that.
What's going on?
I remember you were in the chat room, like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah. But I see whales and sharks, and everybody else, dolphins, and the leagues are moving. I'm like, okay, something's going on. Either it's a bug or like there's some major moves, and I got to figure it out.
You talking about around Big Payday?
No.
This was after.
Recent. It was a small little bug, and everyone had it updated in like a minute after I texted it to them. So.
Just over the last few days, I lost like a couple of places, and then now just recently it's gone back.
I'm trying to not look at it. Honestly, I mean, it's like
I did.
What's the point?
I did go to my first SA meeting this evening, by the way. So my staker app Anonymous, I did go to it, and I'm starting to admit that I have a problem, and
there is no point, but it's like when you open up the app, and I do it several times a day, you just take a peek.
It's fun, man. It's fun. I'm sorry, it's fun when it's like this. When it's sideways, it's like But when it's like this, man,
and this is just like a passive, like you just kind of take a look at it, but it doesn't, it's not like stressing over, hey, did I make the bad call or something? It's like, well, that's great. I know where I stand, and look at that. There's a bunch of new squid today. That's cool. Like I kind of like seeing that when the numbers go up and there's more people.
Oh, it's addicting. It's addicting. Yeah.
It's addicting. It was great.
Yeah, man, it's freaking addicting. It is.
I think. That was really good.
It's that dopamine hit. I mean, it's kind of like, oh, we're down a little bit today. Oh well, it'll be better next week. It's like every 2 months we set a new all-time high.
Not even that.
What crypto does that?
Even if the price goes down, you're still getting more hex, right? You're incurring
that's the other fun part about it is looking at your daily interest. It's like, yeah, if you're not if the price doesn't excite you, then you look at the daily interest and you're like, where's the calculator? How much did I make again today? Oh,
how many million hex am I making this year?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's just it's a lot of fun, and props to Stefan Firebun for making Staker. You guys freaking knocked it out of the park with Staker. Staker just, I mean, it makes it all fun. You guys made it fun, and
I look at it in reverse. I'm like, if I sell my hex, how many millions of hex am I going to lose this year?
Yeah,
I
have a problem with selling. Like, I really don't want to. I had a while ago, right before we got to 1.5, I had a limit order that I'd set like around big payday. I was like, if it gets to 1.5, I'll sell a little bit. But then I saw that come up and I might, cancel. I paid like $20, $30 at the time to cancel that. So I'm like, nah, I can put it out. I don't need the money now. It was just at the time I was testing out stake wrap and that'd be cool, but I wouldn't hold on to it. I don't need to get rid of it.
So here's what's cool for me. So my thought process was, okay, so I don't want to get rid of my hex or my T shares. All right. And I have stakes coming up next year. I've finally got stakes coming out. So it's like, okay, what do I do here? How am I going to solve this issue that I'm having with separation anxiety of my T shares? Right. So, okay, first of all, I got to look at just my interest, which Staker divides for you really nicely. It shows you what your interest is, what your accrued is. And you go, okay, that's the stepchild right there. I'm going to use that. I'm going to get rid of that. The stepchild goes away. Okay. But my real kid is the T share, and the T share is getting put back out there for 15 years or 10 years plus or whatever. Right. Now with Pulse, it's like having that second wife's step kid. So now you don't have to worry about your step kid and your kid. Now it's like, okay, the second girlfriend's kid, and now it's easier to think about getting rid of those versus, your real children. So anyway.
Well, here's another thing. Okay. So like people are talking about picking a chain. Okay. If you pick a chain, you have a 50% chance of picking the wrong one. Okay. So imagine the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash fork. Okay. If you would have chose Bitcoin Cash, you'd be sorry. But if you would have held them both, you would have both values. Right. But if you choose wrong, you may potentially choose the wrong one. So really people should not feel that they have to make a choice or go in one direction or the other. That division that people feel that they have to make some kind of binary choice, they got to go one way or the other. You can keep both. There's no reason that you should, because then you have two money printers on two separate chains doing their own thing, and you don't lose any of it. But if you try to cash in and you pick the wrong coin and you dump everything into the one coin and you chose poorly, you're going to be crying. So think that over.
Yeah, hedging this one is important, I think.
Yeah.
So Mike Palenka, thank you for the, I think that's Canadian, $20 Canadian. Can you explain how I get paid from T-shares? I'm confused how I get paid from them. I've watched so many videos and I still don't get it. It's the interest of hex calculator different from the interest paid with T-shares. So let me see if I can explain this to you, Mike. So what happens when you stake your hex is you burn your hex. And when you do that, at the moment you push that button, there is a price for T-shares. Those of us who staked early, we got a better price for our T-shares. And the longer we staked, we got a better price for our T-shares. Or we've got more T-shares per hex. So you get that value instantly based upon how much hex and how long you stake it. And those T-shares generate a value every single day. And if you go to the staking function on hex.com and you click on the hex, you can actually see the T-shares and how, if you click the logo on the top left, you can actually see the T-shares and what the payout per day.
Pull up the screen for them for a second. Just
I don't have a wallet hooked to this. I don't know if will it show.
Well, so another way to think about it is, is I'll use the analogy like in the real world, if you're buying shares of a company, that takes into consideration the principal you put in, but then there's also a bonus multiplier for, how long you're investing. So this is a little bit unique. You buy shares in a company and then, whatever the price appreciation is when you sell it, that's what you get back out. Now the shares in Hex, there's the bonus mechanisms, which is longer pays better and bigger pays better. And so there's incentives for staking it out longer and, lumping up your Hex together for a bigger pays better, and longer always pays better than bigger pays better. But so that calculates, it turns into a T-share, and that gives you a value. And then each share you have, and we use the word T-share because it's 1 trillion shares. So each T-share is 1 trillion shares. And then from that, there's a Hex per T-share payout that happens, right? And so instead of trying to figure out, what your principal was every time and compute that and then figure out what the interest rate is, it was a very unique system that Richard and the dev team came up with. I think it's brilliant, and it basically factors in how compounding interest works, and it's an analogy to that. And so that's how. Maybe you have a better question, you can ask it in the comments, or if I can clarify something, but that's basically what a T-share is. It's just using that as a placeholder to determine how much principal you have and the interest you're earning at the same time.
RG, pull up that screen real quick.
Oh, did you? Yeah, because I don't have a wallet on this, so it doesn't hook to it.
Okay.
Let me see here.
And then I'll talk here.
So what he's saying is there's a price per T-share, and we're going to go down to the bottom of that and show. So per T-share, you're going to get a daily value, and here's the list of the days that have gone by and how many Hex that you get here. Let's open that up so people can see.
So we started with like nothing.
Yeah, go all the way
back down here. So there was no big deal whatsoever because we were getting like 1 Hex per T-share. All this was less than a Hex per T-share, right? And as time progressed, as the supply got bigger, then the percentage, the 3.69%, is a higher percentage of a larger amount. So as that happened, we got progressive share rate. And it went up and up and up and up. And if you look at the chart, there were some days where we got, a spike up to 13. This day here, we got a spike of 6, but for the most part, it's, hanging in around here right now. But 5 to 6 T-share, or 5 to 6 Hex per T-share per day. Yep.
So and what you do is you add up all your T-shares based on that. So however many T-shares you have, you add that 5.6, 5.7 T-shares to your T-shares, and that tells you how many T-shares per day you get. The Staker app does this for you really well. You can actually see that your T-shares going up on your Staker app. If you don't have Staker app, you need to get Staker app, and it tells you how high or how many per day that you got when at 12 o'clock UDT. Is it 12 o'clock? Yeah. When it flips over, it tells you your shares for the day that you acquired. Now that's Hex that you acquired for that day. And in this app, if you go to stake, it will show you actually your stakes and how much interest they've accrued for that day. And if you look at the day before, you can tell how many more you went up. And then now what he's doing is he's looking at the price per T-share right now. So this is how you calculate it.
We got 17,629. All right, and that will get you 1 T-share if you stake for 1 year. So you see that's basically, well, actually, no. That will get you 20% extra, okay, because you're staking for a full year. If you were staking for 90 days, you'll get one T-share.
Yep.
Okay. But if you stake for a full year, you get 20% per year. So if you stake for 1 year, you get 1.2 T-shares for that 1 year.
Show them the value
And then
on a 10-year.
On 10-year, it maxes out. So actually, you end up with 3 T shares if you max out for that year. And that T share, as it goes, is for each one of those shares, you get that payout per day. So you rather have 3 than 1 share. So that's why we stake longer.
Yep.
If that makes sense. But
And
beware of the truth engine, folks.
The T-shares are absolutely the most valuable piece of Hex. Period. In the story.
And there's been some confusion in the past about what effective hex means, and I'm just going to address this because it sounds like I forgot what the guy's name is, but it seems like you're pretty new, and so I just want you to understand there's a bonus. So like if you were to invest, you had 100,000 hex, for example, there's a bonus that's applied, and the bonus is calculated ahead of time. So if you had 100,000 hex, Johnny, if you don't mind putting that in,
I can do
just
that,
as an example.
So it's a bigger pays better bonus he's talking about there. And I got to figure out which tab it is. There it is. Okay.
Yeah. So the effective,
it actually maxes out at 150 million is the max. So if we had the 150 million, which I keep typing a 5, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's where it maxes out for the bigger pays better bonus.
Yeah. So what I was basically getting at is like when it says effective X, that doesn't mean that's what your return's gonna be. That's it, the effective hex is basically saying like you're instead of investing 150 million, you're effectively investing 465 million
based on your longer and
based on the bonuses that you're getting, and then that is used to determine your shares. And so if you hover over that little yellow, it'll explain it to you. But I've had a lot of people ask me that question, and when I was earlier into Hex, I was confused about that too. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I didn't see you ask any other questions in chat, but please do. Lyman, I don't like Ortega. What's your problem, dude? We're trying to help somebody that has some questions.
Are you guys wasting your time with this noob? That's horrible, Lyman. Come on, man.
Yeah, dude. Come on. We're trying to help people. You guys got a quick question. You even paid for it.
I know we've been around for a long time. We've gone over a lot of this stuff many, months ago, but it's always good to refresh everybody and let everybody know.
We got 600 new wallets, guys. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't have a freaking clue what's going on.
And we've got 185 people watching the stream. We haven't had this many people watching the stream live in a long time. So that's telling me over the last 2 weeks of streaming that there are new people out there watching. So there's people in the crypto community watching what we're doing right now. And, rather than bloviate and talk shit and be the crap show that we have always like to pride ourselves on being, we should be, helping the new people get educated also. And learning about Hex so that they can understand what we know. We can't just run around with our chests all pumped up going, hey, we got ours. Now you go figure out yours. No, we are the community that should be reaching out to everybody, especially people who are coming over to watch this. If you're coming over here to watch this, you obviously want to learn. You want to know what Hex is all about. And why are these guys still fucking on? Why are they still talking about this thing? Isn't it supposed to have scammed out a long time ago? No, it's still here, and there's a reason why, and that's why we've been so confident about what we've been doing, because we do have something here, and people need to understand it and learn it. So, I was gonna say something else about that.
Pretty
really
bad at shit talking.
I'm trying to maneuver around the camera to use the keyboard because the way this whole setup is. So,
thanks, Russ, for the 20 bucks, dude. Appreciate you, man. Supporting the show. Let's see here. Oops, there we go. So onboarding, bringing new people on. Oh God, Bloviate RG3 Bloviate plus. I just got a plus on my grammar lesson from Papa B. For saying bloviate. So I just got
Quinn James. All right, I see you. That's cute. Why don't you say it like it really is, huh? Somebody block him. Get that asshole out of here.
Yeah. Bye, buddy. Yeah. Save your crap. Anyway.
I'm not even reading the chat. I don't care about the trolls.
I try to, because we do lately. What I've noticed is we do have a lot of people showing up on the live stream, so people are trying to learn. So those of you who are new, I don't want you to feel intimidated for asking questions. There are no stupid questions. It took us months and months and months of actually, sitting down, listening to Richard, going over this with very, very smart people. I mean, we had in our community, we have Dev Kyle. We've got guys like Coffee and Motley and DC and Yashdeep here and Johnny. All these guys are very, very smart, and they learned a lot about Hex in the beginning, and we literally had to do it along the way. It took us months and months and months to do this on stream and on phone calls and in back rooms with each other, trying to figure all this out. So please ask questions. Let us explain it to you. We don't mind. The simplest of simple questions are okay to answer. I know we talk a lot of game theory here, and about the new things that are coming out. We're all excited about PulseChain, but there's a reason why we're excited, because we do have the confidence that we do have to move forward with Hex, and the new PulseChain that's coming out is really exciting us, because we know what it's going to bring. Because what I've always learned in marketing, and in crypto in general, being excited about something and internalizing all of the knowledge and then explaining to people with confidence versus trying to, I call it throwing up all over them. If you try and throw this stuff up on people, it's like, look, get into Hex. Let me show you later on how this is done. Here's how you do it. You get some ETH, you get some Hex. I'm going to show you how to stake it, and then I'll explain everything later. Saying that with confidence is how you need to move forward, because you start trying to shove share price and game theory about all this stuff down people's throats. It just doesn't work. You're throwing up all over them.
You don't need to know how to build an engine to drive a car. You don't have to be as deep in Hex as we are just to run the code. It's not that complicated. But if you really want to get into the inner workings, then it's really complicated, and it will take you months to really understand. The code is 2,956 lines. Mm-hmm. It is not a token generator token. It has advanced game theory, advanced dynamics, and a lot of math. So its design is solid, and that's the kicker, that the deeper you dig, the more interesting it is. But if that's not something for you, you don't have to go that far. You just need to know how the functionality works and know that the code is solid and that it works for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So yeah, Lyman, they can go to hex.com and learn more there. You can. Yes, they can go to
Coffee. And
what is your galaxy fucking brain question, dude? What is? Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? I see. There's a little riff going on right here.
Come see me.
What was his question earlier? What was?
I don't know. He's just been talking shit for a little while. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the chat the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, we must have missed your question earlier there, Lion. I agree with you too, Lion. I mean, people do need to get out there and do their own research, but I'm not going to smack people in the face for asking questions. That's the last thing you want to do when you got a community that's trying to help people understand what it is we're doing. Now, telling them, hey, let me send you to the website first, and then if there are any questions you have after that, come see us. But this is a stream, so we can answer those questions and we can bring them to people. And then, of course, we can point them to hex.com, which is a great idea. That's what we need to do. Get to the hex.com website, and all the information's in there. And I'll be honest, I didn't understand all of it either when I went to hex.com and well, it wasn't hex.com back then, but when I went to, Hex and we read everything, we didn't understand all of it either. We still had to figure it all out. So, hey, Biffines, thanks for the $14.99 public service announcements, all the new. Lots of us OG Hexagons are constantly learning. We're wrong about things, then have to be corrected by other Hexagons. It's pretty damn awesome. Welcome. Yeah,
I will say this, Biffin-ass. Nobody was harmed by the FOMO that I caused at $120 T shares because now they're 500.
Do you think are you feeling guilty or something? Like he was talking about you?
No. Well, I went on with Patrick and them, and it was funny because it went up, but it didn't go up for the reason that I thought it would, but it still went up. So that was the kicker. So the hex per T share per day, or the hex per T share did not go up, but the price went up in such a multiplicity that it still made the share price double. So I wasn't wrong. The share price was going to spike, but not for the reason I thought it would. And now, if you would have FOMO'd in at that $120 share price, that's a pretty damn sweet price right now.
Oh yeah, where are we at right now? What did you just say?
$500, dude.
Oh my
$500 for a T-shirt.
Oh my god, man.
No, David, this is not a college dorm room. Although I can see where you get that from.
Wow, that is insane that we are looking at $500 T-shares.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, forget it. Now I'm even feeling even more afraid for my T-shares. Now I'm like, there's no way. There's no way unless we can stake for 30 years, right?
Hey, think about this, RG. When we go from 2 cents to 4 cents, almost $1,000 T share price.
Wow. Yeah. Bye-bye T-shares. Bye-bye T-shares. Anyway,
and at 5 years, good luck getting them back. If you've got stakes that are ending at 5 years, or you're starting 5 years from now, good luck. That because that's when a majority of the stakes are going to hit, that 5 year mark.
Yeah, that's when it's gonna. But at that point, I think it's not gonna matter. I think that it will at that point in 5 years, it will be when pirate ship, and I might not have to worry about too much of anything, but just kind of hanging out on my pirate ship, and that'll be
1 Bitcoin per T share.
Oh,
you can go to for the newbies out there, because I know there are people in here. You can go to hex.vision, and you can see when people have their stakes coming out. And so if you kind of want to plan around it, because you probably don't want to have your stake come out the same day a huge whale has his stake coming out. Maybe you want to front run it. Maybe you want to throw it in the middle where there's nothing. Those are some things to consider. But the other thing is a lot of people just, they do something they can remember, like their birthday or, a significant other's birthday or whatever. Maybe they have kids and they throw it out on their birthday, or they're going to graduate, or they're going to retire, whatever it is. Somebody's following you, Johnny.
What's that?
I was just saying.
Oh,
shadow.
He's got that. Yeah, that looks like that's pretty eerie looking. So a couple of questions I want to answer that are coming out and in the chat. This one here, real quick. OVD in the great, but we will get double the T-shares with the airdrop, right? That is correct. You are going to get double the T-shares, double the stakes, double the hex, double the fun. It's all going over there. Like I said, it's your second wives, stepkids over there. Have your way with them.
So let's talk about this splitting. Let's talk about this splitting. Literally, we're not just talking about a fork here. We're talking about like a parallel universe.
Yep.
This rift is going to tear open in the crypto space, and there's going to be a parallel universe over there. And then all the influencers and all the gatekeepers are going to be standing and go, hey, there's nothing to see here. And everybody's going to be like, hey, we see guys over there and they are saving on money. You can't tell us that don't exist.
Yeah. I mean, who is not going to want to go over and play with a free bag of their own shit?
Right.
Right. I mean, tell me who is going to go, oh, I'm not going over there. That's Richard Hart's chain. I don't want that. I don't want a free bag of my shit. No.
People are going to use it and they're not even going to know who Richard Hart is. That's really what it comes down to, it's not like everybody in the crypto space even knows who Richard Hart is. You know, I mean, it's
no, a lot of people don't.
There's a lot of people that don't. I mean, he's got, you know, what, 60,000 followers?
There is going to be a viral
65,000
event
followers?
though pretty soon. There is going to be something viral is going to happen, and people are going to understand who and what we are. It's going to happen. It's bound to. I mean, there's too many of us streamers. There's too many of us poking in, you know, all the rest of crypto people and influencers in the eyes all the time. Something's going to happen. Something's going to snap.
I don't know how it hasn't. I mean, that's just it. I mean, we are in the top performing asset of 2020, and everybody's pretending like it doesn't exist. It's like, you know, what? You can't see this? Do I gotta like bust out my bank account and go, hey, do you see this shit? You know, I mean, it's amazing. You know, the numbers are there. The chart is there. Look at the damn hex chart. Are you freaking blind?
And the history too.
Real.
And the history.
It's
I mean,
history.
Is what he's luring more people in to scam them? Hex is luring more folks in so that it can scam them. Hey, Yashdeep's got somebody following him
good.
too.
This is my brother-in-law. My sister is hiding.
Damn, real
good.
Yeah, they're just dropping my dog off.
Your dog.
Yeah, my dog.
Your mom's dog.
Wow, do they realize that you're streaming in front of 200 people?
Yeah, they do. They don't care. They've been joking.
So here's another question that I wanted to ask was, or wanted to answer, and this is something we can get into a little bit. So is it important to have liquid hex for when Pulse launches, or should it all just be staked? Well, that's up to you. That's up to you. There's a lot of different ways that this can go, and I still think that we don't know all the game theory until Richard becomes a little bit more clear with that. I think it's pretty much all out there, just a matter of when now. And I mean, right now, I think the play right now for those of us who don't have a lot of money, as shrimps, we need to be thinking about getting as much hex as we can if we're looking to participate in this. Having as much hex as you can to either sacrifice or hold liquid or to stake is going to be the play for the person that doesn't have a lot of financial energy, because we've already seen over the last few days what the price is starting to do already, you know, just with the few little announcements that have happened.
There's two external factors that are pushing the price. The external factor one is Hex is the best coin to sacrifice, because by purchasing it, you're raising its value, which gives it a higher USD value, so that when you sacrifice it, then you have a higher USD value. Exactly. So it's better to convert your coins into Hex first. The other factor is that if you just hold your Hex and you don't sacrifice it, then you get the duplication on the new chain. So you get double your hex on the new chain. Well, not double your hex on the new chain, but you get a copy of it on the new chain. So technically you're doubling your amount of coins. Their values will be different, but that is another factor. And then, of course, the other factor is if you want to have a stake carry over onto the Pulse chain, then you need to stake it now at today's share price, so that it is replicated over on the new Pulse chain at today's price, instead of waiting for Pulse chain to come out when the share rate jumps up another $200-300. So, you know, and it can that quick. Before Pulse chain comes out, we could jump up another $200-300. So,
yeah. So Lyman,
three factors.
He did ask a good question, and so I do want to address it now that I've read it. Should somebody stake for 555 and get a copy of that stake, or do they want to use their liquid hex for Pulse? You know, that's a good question. I mean, it's going to come down to each individual for what they value. But we don't know if both chains are going to survive, or if one chain is going to survive. Usually the market does kind of decide. I imagine people don't want to pay crazy fees, so in my opinion, it'll probably be the Pulse chain. And if that's the case, and you want to have you want to have a stake set up before, because the other thing is, like we've been talking about the share price. As the share price keeps going up, it's getting harder and harder for you to buy more T-shares. So that's something to consider. But if you also want to buy into Pulse,
liquid,
it's not the same thing. Hex and Pulse are not the same thing. So what's that?
I said you could buy and hold it liquid, and then when you get the duplicate, you could choose which chain you want to stake on. You could stake one and keep the other liquid if you want to. But again, making those choices, if you choose one chain dominant over the other, then you have a 50% chance of being wrong.
Yeah, so hedging on this is probably a good bet. And I'm always the cautious one, the old man that's got only a few years left to make his way. So I tend to do the thing that's going to be the safest bet. A lot of other people are going to want to take the risk or whatever, and that's okay. You guys have a higher risk tolerance than I do, but you can never go wrong hedging. You can never go wrong hedging.
And
as long as they know that making a choice, they have a potential of being wrong. I mean, that's just it. Do what you want, but I mean, don't feel that you're forced
to do one or the other. Yeah,
you're not forced. You can do both if you want, but you don't got to. Yeah. That's strictly up to you.
Yep, that's my move. I'm going to make sure that I'm a little spread out and everything. I mean, how can you go wrong with your hex stakes doubling? I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Period. I mean, I think
you have a pulse maker and you have a pulse maker's one side, and you got the ETH maker on the other side.
A P hex and a hex and a P hex. It's like take them both. Take them both.
Yeah, and the other thing is, there's probably going to be a bridge the way there was for Matic, right? When you go, I don't know if anyone's ever used Matic. I think somebody had a really good tutorial that I watched, and I think it was Dipcatcher, Tatanomi. He had a really good video where he was going through using Matic and just showing like how you go from ETH and you go into Matic, and there's could be something very similar, and that could hold the price together for both chains. And so it could.
I hope we get an on-ramp like that too. It'd be nice if we could buy directly onto Pulse, like you can buy directly onto Matic Network.
Yeah.
That would be cool, because then you don't bypass the whole Coinbase process to begin with. And that was one way to save fee, because you weren't paying the Ethereum fees. You were just buying Matic on the Matic network, and you didn't have to deal with the ETH fees whatsoever. The only problem was you had to deal with the ETH fees when you removed it from Matic onto the Ethereum chain. You had to pay the gas fees there, and then it had to go through checkpoints. And the checkpoint, as Richard pointed out, is actually an oracle.
Yeah, so it's like an escrow. They take your coins and give you the fake coins, and then you have to swap those back, and that's what takes the 12 hours to do so. And
somebody's got to throw the switch. But what Richard's talking about is the bridges do not have to be checkpointed like that. They can be automated, and that is what his intent is. We'll see what happens, but that's his intent. So it should run like Matic, only smoother. So for people wondering, well, how do we get onto the Pulse chain? There's basically going to be a toggle in your Staker app, and there's going to be a toggle at the top of your MetaMask. You'll be able to switch to custom RPC in your MetaMask, and you'll be able to toggle on your Staker app to go between the two networks. Kind of like you can switch on, kind of like Uniswap.
I don't think you're going to have to make a custom RPC. I think it's going to be actually in there.
You should be able to download it, but
yeah, it should be a drop down. From the, I mean, I couldn't see Richard not, tying that loose end up, and I think he's going to have it to where.
Well, Matic did eventually. I actually was in Matic before it had the thing, so I had to cut and paste the code. And Coffee.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing too. Yeah.
And then a week later, of course, all you got to do is click the damn button. And I'm sure Richard to make it easy, So I'm sure he'll add that little extra function.
So I was thinking the way a lot of forks in the past have been listed on exchanges, like Coinbase and Binance and others. I'm wondering if this will get listed. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And if it did,
It's
that
going to
would
be
really help.
confusing though,
Well,
because
that's why you drop all the ETH holders, Josh. That's why you drop all the ETH holders, because they're going to do the work for us. We don't have to get shit listed because they're going to want a place to dump their coins.
Yeah.
That's how you work it.
And they're going to, well, I know that I think that they are showing other tokens on other chains now. Like they're showing the prices of those tokens, right, on other chains and some of the aggregators.
Didn't Matic get on Coinbase?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't look at too much of the stuff.
I could be mistaken, but
let's answer this question real quick. Thanks for answering, guys. Blah blah blah. Does that also mean that the price per share is also duplicated? And I am going to say yes, because it's in hex.
Yeah.
Well,
it's in hex.
The price per hex is replicated, but the market value,
the dollar amount is going to be different, but the p hex per share is going to be the same.
Yes.
It'll be a duplicate.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
or more as stakes ends, because it'll be depending on when the snapshot is taken. So the share rate is always going up. So it will continue to go up all the way up to the snapshot. And then at whatever point that is, will be transferred to the new chain.
That Russ had asked a question too. Is the bridge from L1 to L1 really the same as a bridge from L1 to L2? I don't know the answer to that, actually. So that's a really good question. I don't know if chat does.
No, we got troll rolling around in chat here. Let's see.
I don't know all the underlying dynamics, but Pulse is basically going to be its own layer one. It's not really an L2 solution. It's kind of its own layer. So
it's not L2. It's going to be a side chain.
Yeah, but what's cool about that is the reason why he's using Ethereum to do the fork is because he can incorporate a lot of those L2 qualities into the layer one. So you can manipulate that to kind of combine things, in the fork, make the changes as part of the standard instead of as layer 2 solutions, incorporated into the code.
Nice. Hey, we just went over 200 live viewers, so thanks guys for jumping in. For those of you who are new, hit the notification bell and the subscribe button if you want to learn more about Hex and what we've got going on here. We've got a lot of videos in the archive there that you can learn about Hex. That's what we talk about here. So if that's what you're coming to learn about, that's what we do. And you can also, from here, launch into all the other Hex streams that there are. And believe me, there are a ton of them out there putting out some good information. So if you stick around, poke around in the channel there, you'll see all kinds of not only other community members and community streams, but all the stuff that we have archived. And we have 2 other streams. We have Wake Up Hex in the mornings with KNTX, and we also have Nerd Girl, who does her Saturday morning show, which is called Building Bridges, and she talks to other crypto communities about Hex. So check them out, guys, and hit the subscribe and like buttons. Wow, we got 7 likes, really? We got 7 likes with 200 people watching? What the hell is going on, Hex?
Dude, we suck. That's it. Time to shut the stream down. They're not liking it. That's it.
I don't do that enough.
At 10 o'clock my time here. I can be in bed now.
Oh, there's 129 likes. I'm sorry. Yeah. It showed me 7 for some reason, but anyway. So, where were we? Gosh, man, we're really troll.
We got a troll.
Yeah, we got a troll in there. Let's see. I see 120. You're right. There is. I was wrong. For some reason, it was showing me 7, and there's 129 in there now. So anyway, what else did I not do properly here? Probably messed this all up. Let's see. What do we got here?
Well, we're doing
I don't like to talk about polls because Richard will come along and I'll come up with some theory and I'll come along and go smack. Nope. Not how you think it's going to be.
I don't. I don't. I think you take it a little bit too personally, Johnny. Oh man.
Everybody else gets to speculate. He's not correcting anybody else.
He corrects.
Man, as soon as I'm done typing, it's like, nope. What about this? Oh, by the way, did I mention that this X token doesn't exist yet? Well, there goes that out the window.
Well, maybe he's using you as a sounding board and you don't even know it. He's like, oh, well, Johnny proposes a good idea and I'll find a way around it. So I think that's a plus. I think it's a plus. What's up, Funding Jim?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Gary? How you doing, bud?
Good, man. I know you're for a while. I don't know when you're going to shut down, but it's always an interesting topic hearing you guys talk about what's coming up next and also the experience over the past 2 years that new people are learning about Hex today, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Everybody's, asking everybody asks those same questions that we all did in the beginning, well, what is a T-share? What is this? What is that? And, I was talking about it earlier. It's taken all of us a long time to learn, I think, not because, Hex is intricate and complicated in and of itself. But it goes against the grain of crypto. So everything that you've already learned in crypto, everything that you've tried to ingest or learn about out there, has had to be changed. You're going against the grain now. And so it's hard to reprogram your mind to go, okay, now I got to think this way. Now I got to think long. Now I got to think about shares versus price go up, and being more excited about that than price go up. I mean, price go up is an exciting part of crypto or any asset, but the share price is really what gets everybody excited in Hex. And that's a hard thing for people to wrap their brain around, because for so long, well, from the beginning of time, crypto has always been about price go up. That's it. Is there anything else? And nobody even knows that there's anything else but hexagons.
Well, it's the narrative for other tokens. Even though we're in this bull run, they always have to come up with something new. And you saw it in 17 also, like this partnership is looming, or we're going to do this deal, or just wait until we make that extra thing that happens on our blockchain to be right, the promise coin kind of narrative. And even though, like earlier, Yash covered the what is a T-share and how does that work, that technology has been in place since December of 2019. There's nothing that's changed about Hex whatsoever. The code's immutable. It's just been thriving on the Ethereum network. So even though we talk about the Pulse fork and the things that are coming in a completely different ecosystem potential, it doesn't change anything about how Hex operates currently. And people are seeing Hex for the first time. But you guys are obviously OG, been around since the beginning, and you've learned this over the course of over a year or 2 years of experience and talking about it, thousands of hours invested. So it's really cool that new people are learning about Hex in general. And it's not something that has changed. Like it still pays out to stakers instead of to miners. It still functions in all of the same ways. It has proof in trended data that's you can see directly on blockchain, and we point to that diamond hands have been holding massive amounts of Hex, and that narrative hasn't changed one bit in 2 years. It's really pretty awesome.
And it works. That's the thing. That people have all these theories about what they think makes a crypto successful, and Hex is proving what it takes to actually make a crypto successful. All the stuff, all these opinions, all their ideas of what makes the price work is bullshit. Okay? Look at Doge is kicking the shit out of everything in the crypto space except for Hex. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just saw people are starting to post more stuff from, quote unquote conventional finance oracles like Warren Buffett. People like to respect Warren Buffett about things that he has done well with. And he has been, a meme for a while inside of crypto about, oh, it's just old man yelling at Bitcoin or something along those lines. but his narrative hasn't changed. It's one of the reasons that he sold out of tangible silver at one point. It's the same narrative he's always had, but I just saw it was posted and it was going around again, and he just made a new commentary about things like Bitcoin. And the narrative is the same as the Elvis plate that might be sold, or the Pokemon card, or the ounce of physical gold. Is, the narrative that he doesn't like is you buy something and then you're just waiting for someone else to buy the same thing for a higher price, right? You're just waiting for someone to buy out your item, whether it's a comic book or a house, a physical house, because a house is a single thing that you sell for more usually, if you can. And that's his narrative. That's why he prefers businesses and stocks and dividends and things like that quote unquote pay him to own it, right? George Gammon is another person that's very much a macroeconomics kind of personality. And he always says the same sort of stuff. You should buy something that pays you to own it. Robert Kiyosaki, another person that says, why wouldn't you buy something that pays you to own it? It pays you interest. It throws off dividends. It gives some form of revenue, cash flow that's not based on.
You have to have velocity.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have velocity. Otherwise, you are just waiting for price appreciation, like a collector's item. So that money needs to have a velocity to it. Right. So Hex is different in that sense that it is creating. You're creating the new value for the economy for future people, so that they can participate in that economy. So it's got a velocity of money. It's not just a collector's item. And I'm a collector. I collect a lot of things. I buy things they appreciate. But nothing makes me more of what I purchase. This is like the only thing that's self-replicating.
And that's the thing is, Warren Buffett, if he understood Hex, or at least it was made aware of it, he would love Hex. He would love the fact that it does exactly what it does. It's immutable. It's on code. It has proof of trended data. He would even love Pulse because Pulse has a duplicate of Hex on a different network that has a lower transaction cost. He's always buying businesses that are the more efficient version of an existing business that the public has a desire for and has utility, out of, right? So people like Warren Buffett, you might say, oh, he's not a crypto guy. Well, he's a Hex guy if he was just aware of Hex. That's all it really requires, because all the principles are there, all the economics are there, the code is there. There's not central authority, right? There's not, the limits that you see inside of a fiat system or a regulated system of government to print from a printing press. You have all the principles there for, being your own bank, being your own wealth generator.
Yeah. They have a hard time wrapping their mind around it, though, because of the years and years of programming and successful programming. Because let's face it, his way has been successful for many, many, many years. I mean, the man's 80 years old. So
and his way is replicated into the crypto space, and it is now Hex.
Yeah, and we can say that, but again, you look at somebody like that, and it's like, how did they? I mean, crypto to him is a very, very small space. When you look at now that crypto has gone into $1 trillion, $1.5 trillion, now it's a blip on the radar. But before that, when it was a couple $100 billion, I mean, let's face it, before this bull run, we were at like what, $300 billion, $400 billion. That's a spit in his bucket. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything. So why would he even look at it? It's a fly on the wall. It doesn't matter. And he's been successful, and he's done. He's already done. So why learn something new? Why try and wrap your head around something? So his opinion really doesn't matter, to be honest. These old economists, their opinions really don't matter, because they're not going to be able to shift. It's going to take the younger generation, people like all of you guys out there, to shift the narrative and to change the narrative and to show that there is a better way. Because those people have made their money in the old system, and the old system has done just fine for them. They didn't see us all getting wrecked out here for all these years. They didn't care. They were getting theirs. They knew how to game the system, and they did. And they're all done. So when you look at all of these guys, their opinions really don't matter.
Yeah, the craziest thing that bugs me to no end is people are like, well, Hex has no use case. And it's like, what are you talking about? It has no use case. You know, are you a dumbass? I mean, how can you not see it has the most the most practical use case possible, saving money, earning interest.
Well,
You know, that's why they make banks.
Yeah, didn't you know banks don't have a use case?
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane, and banks don't have much of a use case anymore because now they don't pay you interest. But I mean, that was the whole hook, right? You know, they keep your money for you. Because they keep the money for you, they pay you interest. But now they don't pay it. Now they just fee you to death. So, and then Ethereum came along and made us feed us to death with Hex. So now we got to fix that too.
So I wanted to bring up something. I don't want it to be like a long topic. I do think that anybody that looks at this video from today or in the near future, doesn't matter if you're not in Puerto Rico or if you're not in St. Kitts or wherever, you know, Portugal or Malta, all the things that people talk about, you might consider to talk to your CPA no matter where you're at, because from my understanding, I've talked to my CPA and it applies to me, but it may not apply to you. So you need to talk to yours based on where your residence is. If you decide that you're going to participate in the Pulse sacrifice chamber, where you're basically putting in something, it could be Hex, it could be Tron if that's acceptable, or Cardano or Doge because you've made mad gains, right? You actually can lock in. Again, this is not tax advice. I'm saying you need to talk to your professional. You could have bought into something, whether it's a different altcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, whatever, and that was your basis. If you put that into the sacrifice chamber, for my situation, in my jurisdiction, then that's called send to pool. That's not the same as trading for ETH or trading in or out of a cryptocurrency into dollar. It's not a realized gain in my situation. And what that means is you can lock in the dollar value. You can have that after the fork represented on the other side of the Pulse fork, and it can reestablish a new basis. What that can also mean is you don't have a crypto gain for the alt or for the Hex or whatever it is that you put in on this side of the sacrifice, but you have a token of zero value on the other side, because there's not going to be, as far as I understand, there's not going to be a bridge immediately available after the Pulse fork. So
no, it's not a listed. The X token is not a listed token. It is a
placeholder. It's not listed, and there's no fair market value. So again, when CPAs
it's a placeholder.
It means something to them. It's a placeholder. So there's a phrase inside of CPA language, especially if they deal with crypto or any other kind of thing, like having a stock option on a company before the company is formed. So that this is an existing phrase. So you should ask your CPA about send to pool, those three words, and understand what that means based on your jurisdiction. But for my situation, I can capture a basis and then a dollar value that goes into sacrifice to give me credit on the other side of the Pulse fork, right? And that's not a taxable event. That's not, for me, it's not a taxable event based on I'm not trading it for another token of value. I'm not exchanging. It's not a crypto to crypto, taxable event, because send to pool is different. It's a different thing than buying or trading in or out of a currency, cryptocurrency. So take a look at that. It may be really another pumpamental, another reason to participate in the Hex or in the Pulse fork. It's really an interesting thing you should talk to about with your professionals.
Well, the other thing is the sacrifice chamber is optional. Okay, it's not something anybody has to do. When the sacrifice chamber happens before the snapshot's taken and before Pulse is released. When Pulse is released, it will be available on the open market for whatever the market price is determined at that time. So you can buy Pulse just like any other coin after it is released. You don't have to actually participate in the sacrifice function. But if you choose to, you're probably going to get in ahead of everybody else, and that's what everybody's going for. But again, the short-term thinking, it's going to bite you in the butt if you're trying to make a short-term play, because that's generally not how Richard designs things.
Yep, Richard does not design anything for a short-term play. And if you think you're gonna, right. If you think that you're gonna get something out of somebody, out of Richard, you're mistaken. You are mistaken if you think that you're gonna short this thing.
And somebody else said earlier, again, I've heard this both in the voice on the Pulse crypto Telegram channel and Hex primary channel. And it's this narrative, which I think, again, you should really assess based on your own experience inside of crypto. If you're OG, if you're relatively new, these may not be things that you really understand yet. But in the past, we've had forking events. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum. We've had forking events, right? Where a different chain. And in the past, the idea was it's a contentious fork, right? Meaning two communities, one community splits into two, right? So some people go on one path and some people go on another path because the community as a whole doesn't agree, right? That's the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic kind of a contentious fork. And not to get
guys on both sides.
Basically, the idea is that one would lose value because the entire network and the store of value goes to the other system, right? So that's kind of what happened with Ethereum and why Ethereum Classic isn't $3,000 per coin. I don't think that over time, I don't think that that's going to be the case at all with Pulse and ETH. Pulse being the fork of ETH, because there is a psychological tie to dollar value. There's a psychological jump about, I put $100 in on this side and now there's a fork and now I've got these 10,000 coins that are worth nothing, but really it's $100 because I put in $100 on this side. It's that kind of narrative, that kind of psychological connection that worked for EOS. People put in Ethereum on one side, they got a stand-in token, and then later the blockchain token for EOS became a value play. So
I think with Hex where it's setting now, as low as it is anyway,
yeah,
I don't really see it having an impact negatively on the price whatsoever. And with the new chain coming out, I think there might be somewhat of a parity because people will want shares on both chains. So, I almost see that, people might be apt to purchase on the cheap side, bringing its price up, and then, oh, well, that's too expensive. I'm going to go over here and buy this. Oh, and I brought that up. So I see this sort of parity sort of thing happening where they're gonna chase each other up. We're such on a floor. 2 cents is nothing in the crypto space. 2 cents for a coin and what Hex does is nothing. Okay, we're just not known enough yet.
Right.
We don't have enough buyers yet to know what they're missing out on. When that happens and the veil comes off, we're out of here. And I see that the Pulse chain will probably, like I said, they're probably going to parity.
Well, I see a couple of things. One, the people that care so much about transaction costs, which is just about all of us, right? But still, the people that care the most about my $100, what can I get out of my $100? Well, I can get 98.990 cents worth of Hex because the transaction cost and the onboarding cost on Pulse is less, right? So the narrative on one chain, and they won't be equal to each other in dollar value anytime soon, but I see the narrative being that that's positive, that gets promoted and so forth. But I also see the bridging to Ethereum having value because those are also dollar off ramps. There's two main highways that go between San Francisco to the South Bay and Silicon Valley. One is called the 101 and one is called the 280. And they are basically the 280 is about 5 miles longer in distance, but about 15 minutes faster. It's a different route, and it has less off ramps, but it's more scenic, right? And the 101 has an off ramp every quarter mile, and it has tons of commercial and, you know, all kinds of reasons why people are congested there, right? And I can see the same sorts of narratives about, you know, if I want to get to San Francisco, I can make a choice on what network or what path that's parallel to each other that gets me there. And I see the same kind of narrative. So on the Ethereum side, if you're sacrificing, if you're letting go of your coin, you might be selling your coin to a buyer like you or I that are buying up that dip, right? We're buying it up and putting it into stronger hands. But I have to be honest, I'm not that diamond of a hand. I have a lifespan. I don't have I'm not a longevity thing. I don't have legacy. So I'm not as much of a diamond hand as like an OA has been proven to be over years now, right? I don't have this. I'm not likely to sell easily, but I'm not holding it to the grave. You know, I don't have plans to. So when you let go of an Ethereum hex, you're letting it go maybe to someone else that's stronger than you, that is just buying that dip or holding on to it for their own price point that they realize. But you're probably also letting it go to the OA or somebody that represents something like the OA, and it just sops up that volume. You know, the number of coins that are available are still going to continue to shrink. The number of T-shares will always diminish as far as what you can get for that restake. So I can see the narrative that ETH hex, even if it's a higher transaction cost and unstaking and all the narrative being expensive on Ethereum, and again, Ethereum 2.0 will still launch sometime in the future. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good for the price of transaction costs. I can see that growing. And I can see this jump across that hex.com is still going to represent two networks, even though it's one website. You're going to have this association in your mind about what should the value be. And a lot of people are going to play the arbitrage game. So I think eventually you will see a duplication of whatever value you have right now on Hex, or soon to buy. If you're to buy Hex and you hold it, I think you're going to have a similar narrative, better than the BPD or better than the I'll double my stack kind of narrative of 6 or 8 months ago when that happened.
Well, here's the thing. Hex is making the crypto space adapt to it, if you haven't noticed. How many people are toting about their audits that they're getting now?
Mm-hmm.
How many people are bragging about their Uniswap listings now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you know, now we say, you know, Cardano win contracts. Now they have answers for us, right? Because we're motivating change. And it has to be. Because now that we're forking Ethereum, guess what? There's no more excuses for Ethereum not to make the corrections that need to be corrected. If Richard can do it, then by God, what are they doing? They should be able to do it. They've got a full team of people. We're talking about a couple devs, and they're going to smoke the whole Ethereum Foundation and beat them to market with a product that actually works with affordable fees.
Yep. He already smoked them with that.
If they don't step it up. So as far as the Ethereum fees staying high forever, it's not going to happen. So eventually, if you're staked out long enough on the Hex ETH, the fees are going to be adjusted, because otherwise they're going to lose market share to the competitor because they're unable to make the fixes that they should have made years ago, but they haven't implemented because they had no reason to implement them. The money was good. The miners are getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. People just have to deal with it. They have to suck it up. They have to pay those fees, right? They don't have a choice. There's no other option. There's no other road to take. Now there's a road to take. Now there's another route. So they have no choice. They have to step up their game.
Yep.
You know, cryptocurrencies now have to finish what they say they're going to do.
Yep.
Because there are products that do finish and do what they say they're going to do. So they don't have a choice. They have to adapt. And it's as a result of Hex, a lot of things coming out now have to adapt. have to do what they say.
That's an excellent point, mostly because you said monopolies are bad because they deliver poor services and goods to the population that are buying them because they don't have to change. They're not compelled to. And competition breeds innovation. So yeah, you're right. The community, along with Richard, promoting the fact that the fork is going to happen and giving people fair warning, it is motivation for existing
of the monopoly
that are monopoly right now.
Breakup of it. Yep. No, that's exactly what brings on innovation and new adoption and moves things into the future is the breakup of those things.
And innovation is always resisted. Absolutely. If you find the point of most resistance, you have found something innovative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't want to give up their power and their position. It's natural that they don't want to.
They don't have to do anything. All they need to do is write a white paper, give you some bullshit promise, make a token gen token with 5 lines of code, and then say, yeah, sure, we're working on it.
Well, those days are over with
altcoins for forever, right? And now guess what? We have products that do something.
Yeah.
And it's almost 3,000 lines worth of code to show you how much stuff it does.
And those days are over with. Unfortunately, a bull market hit, so more plebs to wreck have come to the market space. So that the narrative is just resurfaced of the promise. The crypto promise has just been,
the recycling of narratives.
Recycled.
I call it the recycling of narratives. We hear
that's
it 3 years ago. It sounds like a pretty good story then. Too bad they're using the same lines they did 3 years ago. It's like deja vu. Where did I hear that before? Oh wait, 3 years ago. It still ain't happening.
Yeah. Well, here we are, and they're gonna ride this bull run and make their gains, and then they're gonna have to answer to it, and then maybe not. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll get another round of, they'll get another bear market, and maybe they'll make some tweaks and things and make good on some of their promises and make it look like they've done something well, and then do it all over one more time again. Who knows? But Hex is doing something different. It's finally doing something different, and like you said, it is forcing their hand. And we are seeing them adjust. We are seeing them talk. Nobody talked about audits. Nobody. None of those white papers said we got audited. We were audited. On top of all this really wonderful, cool bitchin' stuff that we're going to show you and promise you, we got audited. None of them. Now they're all starting to do that. They're all starting to talk like that.
They're following suit. They're absolutely following suit. And some people are saying, oh, we got audited, but they didn't. But it's necessary for them to talk about it. It becomes a topic of conversation. Hex has changed the narrative. It makes these things. It makes security a question. It makes holding your own keys a question. It makes these things questionable. Where does the money come from? When you loan your keys and when you give your money off to somebody else, where does the money come from that they're giving back? Is it coming from the inflation of a smart contract, or is it coming off from the next SAP that comes into the program? So we've got all these people out here buying into these lending platforms, which are centralized platforms with keys that can shut off a switch. And then they're calling Hex, which is a smart contract that you hold your keys and you're in control with multiple access points. And they're using a lending platform. You know what else was a lending platform? The thing that they think we are. And they're using the lending platforms.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
Yeah.
Another thing, I'm not touting that people should buy JPEGs and consider that a store of value. I don't really believe in that personally, so I don't really buy NFTs. However, I don't buy a lot of video games now either, right? I used to play all kinds of video games, Black Ops and stuff like that, and I really don't do that anymore. Maybe that's just a different level I'm at in my life now. Doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's not something for me. At one point, I bought comic books as a kid, right? I collected things that were, in my mind, collectible. It's very interesting that Pulse as a fork will have the NFTs that are on Ethereum, the tokens, tokens that
So
are
much
on.
for your one of a kind, guys.
There will be a $69 million NFT that is on Ethereum, and there will be a same picture on Pulse, and there will be price speculation over the value of that real NFT that got airdropped or whatever, replicated. I think that, again, I don't want to shit talk other communities or other products or other services because they find a market. You can sell a verified checkmark Twitter account for a lot of money right now. You can sell an Instagram account that's official, right? And it's been recognized for a lot of money, and people build up accounts and they sell build accounts. They sell those accounts. You can build the value of a domain or a URL, and you can sell that. It's a digital product that you can sell for value. So as Pulse becomes known to the world, especially whether they're Ethereum or they're other networks or whatever, things that really can't function right now, like play a video game on blockchain. What, you want to play $1,000 game for half an hour? I mean, what the fuck, right? Like the transaction cost for a blockchain on Ethereum video game isn't possible right now. You can have real estate and buy clothing items on Decentraland, and the clothing item has to be ridiculously expensive because the transaction to buy or trade it is $80 or $90, right?
Even yield
You can kickstart those other ecosystems on Pulse because those communities have the airdrop or the fork. They already have the keys. They already have the tools. The code already exists for their front end. It just needs a couple of tweaks to actually be functional instantly on the fork. So it's a great narrative for outreach to existing stifled blockchain or stifled, innovators, inventors, programmers, developers. When they say that there's 4,000 developers working on Ethereum, they're not working on the Ethereum base code. They're working on all the shit that makes money as endpoints. They're not working on the highway. They're looking on the endpoint for their value play, right? But they have a better ecosystem, at least on the Pulse, potentially, right? It's a very interesting time.
Thanks, Big Finesse.
And
yes, it is. It is a very interesting time. I'm sorry. What was that, Yash?
No, I didn't say anything. I've been quiet, and children was giving me a hard time.
Oh, like he doesn't always.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey guys, Yash, thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate you, bro. Johnny, thanks for coming. Gary, always a pleasure to have you guys. The OGs, the Cutthroats, appreciate it. And thanks everybody for coming. We're gonna call it a night. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one. Friday Night Hangout, 2 days away tomorrow. Don't forget to check out Wake Up X with all of the Euros and Kinetics. Catch you guys later.